Dulas Peter raw.
Hello, friend. I am Peter Solis Nery. Yes, 3 names. I am a Filipino poet, and this is my story. When I was little, I lived in the coastal town of Dumangas, Iloilo, famous for its crabs and milkfish. But I dreamed of going to far and foreign places when I grew up. So I read a lot of books to be smart.
Hi guys, and welcome to Exhibition, Iloilo Primagalao's podcast featuring people, places, and events here in Iloilo City.
We envision Iloilo City teeming with artists who are given venue to discover and share their creative understanding of the world.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Exhibition, Iloilo Primagalao's podcast featuring the people, places, and events in the city of Iloilo. And once again, do not forget to like and subscribe. For your comments and suggestions and hopefully non-violent reactions, you can reach us at Iloilo Primagalao Official, #Exhibition, #Iloilo Primagalao. And we have a wonderful guest and a wonderful show in store for you today. We will be having a Palanca Award Hall of Famer, a modern-day storyteller, poet, and playwright in English, Filipino, and Hiligaynon. From Dumangas, Iloilo, and currently living in Maryland, USA, let us welcome our guest for today, the famous Peter Solis Nery. Hello there, Sir Pete, and welcome to Exhibition. How are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. I hope you all are safe too.
As for you being a writer, at what age did you realize that this was the profession that you wanted?
Wanted, I guess the answer to the wanted would be like age 9. Like, my first poetry was published in our school wallpaper, and I saw my name, and it was like, so you have the poem, and then you have your name, and oh my God, I want my name like, connected with some writing thing. So I went very good with essay competitions in the elementary school. In the high school, I had the campus journaling, and that on until I got into college. And then I knew that, even while I was like having biology at UPV, I knew that I wanted to write. So I was writing stuff, but it did not happen that I get to be published.
Wait, you mean to tell me, Pete, you're a biology graduate?
Yes. The
Well, it's
biology
a far
and then,
leap from being a novelist, being a playwright.
well, I have biology because I wanted, my family, I guess, my family wanted me to become a doctor, and then a medical doctor. And then that did not happen. I went to the seminary. I took up philosophy, and then it did not proceed to the priesthood. And then I bumped around, but with the degrees that I had, I was able to teach in Macau and Hong Kong. And then I also taught at UPV as an instructor of philosophy. And then at the what is now Ateneo de Iloilo, like Santa Maria Catholic
Santa Maria
School.
Catholic School.
And then I took up nursing as a second course, third or fourth, whatever course.
And you
count that, like,
graduated nursing.
And I graduated nursing, and I became a nurse, and
And you passed
and
the
I became
board.
and I
And
became a
still, you became a writer.
yes.
I mean,
Because
it's
like,
great. I mean, I wish all of us knew what we were going to do at age 9.
no, I think what it is like, there is just no money in writing that people need to realize that, they might need to take on other jobs. They might need to take on other professions and write on the side. Like, not everybody can be a bestseller like the writer of the Harry Potter or even the Twilight series, or like, so in this modern times, I think it's very important that people are diverse, are multi-talented, like, if they want to pursue life as, as a working and struggling artist. I mean,
So, what was your favorite literary genre, by the way, when you were starting at age 9? What was your favorite literary
well,
genre?
it was like poetry because, like, at age 9, you're taught haiku and, like, the 17 lines, or maybe sankan, like, the 5 lines. And then, like, so you kind of imitate, and then you try to vary it a little bit. And then you got your poem, like, 5-line poems. Oh, butterfly, like, flutters by, yada, yada, bye, bye. So,
So
yeah,
you rhyme the last syllables. I mean, my experience with poetry,
right.
you just rhyme the last syllable, and it's enough to get you an 80 at best. I mean,
For a grade 3, like,
yeah.
so, like, all my early poetries are really unschooled, like, uneducated. But now I still write some crappy poems, but, I've read a lot about poetry. I know a lot about it. So I, in fact, I'm teaching it, like, so when you ask about the days, like, there are some months even that I would do online workshops, and these are free workshops. So
Why
if you
wasn't I invited on the free workshops?
people, you need to like the Peter Solis Nery Foundation page on Facebook,
Okay, there you
because
go. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, like the Peter Solis Nery Foundation page, you get free online writing workshops
no,
from a Hall of Famer Palanca awardee. I should
no,
have
so
known that.
no,
I
no, no,
didn't
no.
know.
Well, you might not be following my posts because, like, on my wall, first, originally, like, on my wall, that's where I post my announcements, and then I link it to the Peter Solis Nery Foundation page. So I would announce when the workshop, how it's going to be conducted. Usually I do marathons, like I do poetry marathons. I call them poemathons, like,
Poema.
for the whole, like, for example, for the whole month of June, you have to write one poem a day every day for 30 days. So, like, sometimes you would start with 164 participants, like, bringing it down to like 70 to like 49, and then sometimes you
But the
just finish.
best poems get featured on your website.
uh no, but, like, people have their own collections, and if I just, like, probably dedicate myself to it, like, I could gather all their poems and, like, come up with a book. In fact, in 2014, like, that's, oh my God, that's 6 years ago. In May of 2014, that's what we did. Like, I had a workshop, a poetry marathon. But it was the first time that I had it. So everybody was so excited. Like, I give the prompt, like, a day before, and then they have 24 hours to write a poem, and then they post it, and then I criticize it, and then we evaluate it, and then, like, the best poems, they I at the end of the 30 days, I chose the best poems, and we, published them in an anthology.
What really interests me, Sir Pete, is that you have a very hectic writing schedule. Where do you get your ideas from? I mean, for me, I'm not a writer, but if I am tasked to write, I cannot produce ideas on the fly.
Well,
So you being able to write a multitude of um, of prose and poetry, where do you get those ideas?
I told you, like, like with coffee, I do the social media, so you know what's going on, what's happening in the world. And then after coffee, I take a shower, or, and then after that, I probably would pick up a book. That's what I said. So, and there are literally thousands of books in the house. In fact, like, if I can just, well, I cannot move the camera, but, like, there are books all around, are all around me. I got all kinds of materials. So I watch a lot of movies. Like, I have a DVD collection, which is also enormous. Like, I don't know, there is probably 1,500 of videos. And these are like videos, and these are movies that you don't normally see on, streaming on Netflix or HBO, or what have you. So I have operas. I got this what you call box sets. I have, like, the whole, for example, Smallville. Like, I have 1 to 10, like, 10 seasons of Smallville. So I am that kind of person. I watch everything. I
You
watch a
read
lot of
everything.
documentaries. Yeah. So, like, and
So
my music is kind of eclectic too. Like, I
a
listen to
person of varied interests.
Broadway. Yeah, Broadway,
So
opera.
so Sir Peter, can you suggest a book for us to read? Maybe two books. Two books for us to read.
For what? For inspiration? Well, I
For
have, like, you have, like, how to books, for example. Like, like I read, because I have not
let's say, how
studied.
about fiction, sir? How about fiction?
Oh my goodness.
What would you recommend?
Of course, my stories. Of course, my fiction. But no, I do a lot of, for example, strange, like, the best of the European fiction. Like, we have those books. Like, every year they come up with the best of European fictions, just to
Best of
see.
European fiction.
Yeah, just to see what's going on in Europe. I also, like, buy books from South America, like, such authors as, big ones like Gabriel Garcia Marquez, Isabel Allende, even Coelho and all that. So I read
Do you
everything
even have a favorite author? Do you have a favorite author?
other than me. And no, I don't understand really the language of Shakespeare. Not, like, the intricacy of the language, because it's a different kind of English. But just because I'm, just because it's difficult, I try to read Shakespeare. I try to watch adaptations of Shakespeare. I try to see film productions of Shakespearean plays. And I just am amazed how his understanding of the human nature is, like, the
How
human
much the
behavior.
language of Shakespeare tickles the eardrums. Every time I hear it, it sounds so romantic. It sounds so sweet. It's very nice. I personally am a fan of Shakespeare. Kidding aside, I love reading Shakespeare, but it's really difficult. It's really tedious. You have to, somehow find a website that can convert into modern English to understand those lines. But Shakespeare is really, really lost art, so to speak. It's really one of those wonderful books, sir. I
Yeah.
share your passion on Shakespeare.
No, as I said, like, I buy books, so I have books of Shakespeare, like, and it's hard to read them without the converter. I
Yes,
don't
yes,
have,
yes,
I
I
have
understand.
so, like, but that's the thing, like, most people today are reading in what do I say, like, the insta culture kind of thing. Like,
Yeah,
everything has to be fast, everything has to be short, everything has to be easy, everything has to be simple and sometimes stupid.
the what they call the hugot culture. It's all the
Yeah.
hugot lines, the shortened paragraphs, the quotes.
Yes, so, like, for me, that's not even reading. Like, I can do that with my phone. Like, it's like browsing. But to read, to really sit down with a text and to study it, and, like, kind of discover the human heart, like, the intricacy, because, like, everything cannot be as simple as, like, like, you with a hugot. Like, a hugot is like a simplified life, and for me that does not really tickle my fancy, because I want to present, and because I've seen this in myself, that I'm so complex. Like, if even if I say that I'm happy, and I am really happy, I have that sense of sometimes, like, in a fleeting nostalgia, fleeting loneliness, or like, oh my god, like, I have this big house and I'm so alone, and, like, what am I doing with my life
So,
here, like, but then I, at lunchtime, I get up and I cook and say, "Oh my God, I'm cooking, like, good
so
food, yada yada." And
the complexity of the human experience cannot just be encapsulated in a single phrase or in a single line. It has to be
Exactly.
written, and it has to be felt, and it has to be lengthy if it must be. And
Yeah,
speaking of
and that's
speaking
why I
of
like Shakespeare.
yeah, yes. And speaking of difficult things to do, you are a multi-awarded Palanca winning playwright. What was the first piece that won you the Palanca?
My first piece was like Lirio, which is a Hiligaynon short story about the girl who turned into a lily. That's the short thing of it. Like, a girl who turned into a lily. But what it was is like, she was mute, and then she got into a relationship and got married to an abusive husband, and she was raped, marital rape. Like, she was a victim of marital rape until, like, she couldn't take it anymore, and she prayed, God, please turn me into a lily, and she became a lily.
So
So
that was your first.
the only reason I joined the Palanca was that because the year before that they opened a category in Hiligaynon short story. So, and I'm not very confident about my English or my, I may be a little confident with my Filipino, but I'm thinking, oh my God, you'll be competing with, Tagalogs and all that, who know the language probably
The
better.
native speakers, so to speak.
So, like, I mean, how do you compete with that? And then with English, like, you have people who are, masters of fine arts in creative writing, or like, BS English and all that. I'm a
And
BS
also the native
biology.
speakers as well. Yeah, the native speakers.
Well, for the Palanca, we are not really native English speakers. Like, I'm talking about like
Oh,
Philippine
your competition.
literature. Oh, so my competition. So, yeah. So I joined the Hiligaynon category, and for a while I was just like joining the Hiligaynon competition until probably 2009, when I started writing in English. What happened was, there was a competition in NCCA, and it was for the languages of Panay. Like, and I wrote plays, and I wrote the Jovita Fuentes play in the four languages of Panay. I have Hiligaynon, Antiqueño, Capiceño, and a little bit a sprinkling of Akyanon. And it did not win, and I felt that I was betrayed. Like, I'm saying, like, this was a wonderful piece, and why did it not win? So but the story of Evita takes us from the Philippines and then moves to Europe. So when the Europe part, I started writing it in English, and with a sprinkling of German and, like, Spanish, whatever.
And it
So,
won.
well, and then, so, like, when I had the succeeding acts of the story in a different language, I decided to go back to Act One and translate it into English. So now I have a full-length play in English, and I entered it at the Palanca, and it won first prize. The first time I joined the Palanca in an English competition, it won first prize.
One of your works that won first prize was Tic Tac Toe. Can you take us through that? How were you able to write that? Because I
Um,
mean, if you may, what I experienced with Tic Tac Toe, I think it was a rainy December morning when me and my director, Mr. Romy Jean de la Riarte, we were looking for a play. We were actually looking for a play to present to CCP. And somewhere, somehow, was able to find that gem, that Tic Tac Toe, and I started reading it. A part of me was scared, but a part of me was excited. And well, I mean, I'm really curious. How are you able to weave such a very intricate tapestry of a play within a play? I mean, a normal person can barely write a play, much more a play within a play construct.
well, if you know your Shakespeare, like, Hamlet, you're a play within a play. So, like, okay, this is a good idea. Maybe we can use this. No, I think Tic Tac Toe won in 2015. I think it won the Palanca in 2015. Maybe 2016, whatever. Like,
2016, I think, sir.
2016. So you see, it's 2016. But I think that I wrote Tic Tac Toe in 2011. 2011, I was like, oh my God, I was so close to the Hall of Fame, yada, yada, yada. So, like, I think I wrote, I don't know, I sent in maybe 6 8 entries, like, from different categories and all this, like, oh, just like, send them all and all that. You might win and all that. So, and I finally won the Hall of Fame. I finally won my fifth gold medal in 2012. That's why I was elevated to the Hall of Fame. So now I have like 9 gold medals, 9 first places, and so I'm
With
waiting
who's
for
counting?
my tenth.
I bet you will have another 3 in the near future. But how
So
does
yeah, so 2011. So I'm just like saying, like, so the play was written in 2011. I sent it in 2011, maybe sent it in 2012 and 13. So like all those 3 years, and it did not win. Nothing. But you see, the original thinking, the original location was Iloilo. So it was in Iloilo, and the consultant is from UI. Okay. Now, now, um, because it did not win, I rested it for a while. And I was thinking, okay, maybe the judges did not want somebody from Iloilo to win. Especially if I'm in the running, they think, oh, that Filipino playwright from Iloilo maybe, like, should not win and all that. So in 2016, was it? In 2016, I changed the location from Iloilo to Bacolod and changed the consultant from UI to UNOR. And hello, it won first prize. So I'm thinking, is there a conspiracy
Mhm.
to block
The
me?
plot thickens. The plot
or
thickens.
like you know you're thinking sometimes, like, I always think that sometimes I'm just like a little ahead of the general culture, because no, but like, that's the thing also with the US. Like, I think that the Philippines picks up from America. Well, this is very true some years ago, or maybe in the past century, picks up from America maybe 5 years later. But now with the internet and everything, everybody's having the same thing at the same time. Like, we have the same
How does
opening.
it feel when the group staged your play Tic Tac Toe? Because you were there in CCP, and to be honest, I'm not pulling your leg or anything. I know you're a multi-awarded Palanca winning playwright and you have all the accolades in your name. But trust me, Sir Peter, that is the funniest play I have ever been in. And that play gave me a lot of nightmares for the first scene alone. So how does it feel being able to having your play staged?
Well, of course, I was so excited. That's why I made it a point to, like, to come to the Philippines and watch, like, you at the CCP. Um, it's because it's not often that my plays are produced. Like, I have like several plays already. Like, I have, like, I have won at least 5 palancas for plays. Like, or maybe more. I don't know. Uh, no, because I write in one act play English, full length play English, and I've won in these categories: one act play in Filipino and full length play in Filipino. So I at least 5, I guess. I think I have at least 5 palanca as a playwright. Okay, so but many of my plays are not produced because, well, I'm thinking sometimes, like, the play are just like in a cerebral thing. um I don't think so. But, like, but also, like, I found also, like, and this is strange, I found also so much gay voice, like, my oh god, my advocacy about gender and all that is, like, I think is seen more in my poetry, in my plays, rather than my poetry and my short stories. um for example, like, people may mistake tic-tac-toe as a gay play. It's really not. It's just like, that it just happens that, I put in some gay characters there, but the play is really about, like, modern plays, like, how they should be action and they should not be afraid of action instead of just, like, words. So, and then of course the censorship thing, and
Yes. Speaking
who
of that,
determines the market.
what's your what's your take on censorship? Because we live in a society that is being geared towards political correctness. And as far as reading Tic Tac Toe, being able to talk to you multiple times, when you were joining us here in the group in Iloilo Primagalaw, I am really interested to know what is your take on censorship, political correctness, and things of the sort.
I think political correctness is a crazy thing. I mean, I would rather that I also make mistakes. I try to be politically correct, and sometimes it just affects my writing. So, for example, in my writing, instead of the traditional pronoun he, when discussing things, I have to shift between he and she, or one chapter it's a he, another chapter it's a she, just to have that balance. Or now they have they, but they is, it's not they are, because I'm talking about one person and it's a they. So and then a they is, and which is kind of stupid,
Sometimes
so
it just doesn't go. Subject verb agreement just doesn't agree.
exactly. Exactly. So they're messing up the language, and it's terrible. So I cannot even use waitress anymore because I have to use a waitron. The waiter is so
I
like
never
this.
knew that. I never knew that. So a waitron is now a word?
No, because you have a waiter, which is but then you're only speaking about the male
Male
servers.
side of it.
And then a waitress is so it's just like feminine. So what do you call the person who serves you? A waitron. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. And so what is for me, um I think that people should be, I like to be hated or loved if I'm writing. So my writing, you hate me or you love me, but you react to it. That if I'm so good at it, you have to react. So if I write a play that is not politically correct, I'm sure people will react to it, and maybe that's all that I need.
Well,
So why do I need to be safe? Why do I need to write safely and just so for me, taking a risk is very important, and especially now that I'm a little older, I really don't care about whether people like me or not. I'm freaking 50 years old.
I mean,
If you
taking
don't
a
like me, find somebody else.
taking a page out of the journalism book, and God bless my journalism teacher, it should be adversarial, right? It should be adversarial. It's meant to offend if it has to. It is meant to educate if it has to. It's meant to inform if it has to. So as for you, if the purpose is to insult, if the purpose is to educate or whatever, then so be it. Whether they like it or they hate it, as long as you get the point across.
Yeah, I think that's very true with plays. With plays you discuss, issues like concerns, like themes, but basically societal issues. That's where you play with the idea of dealing with the issue. It's hard to be doing that in poetry, I guess. Poetry, as a poet, I am very lyrical, so it's all about what I feel, how I see the world, how I love, how I how I feel strongly about things. With my stories, I want to show more human nature. So human understanding, the conflicts, the internal conflicts of people, the things that they deal, their decisions, their dilemmas. So those are the things that I have in my poetries and in my stories. But for plays, sometimes I just take one issue, societal issue, and just have a run with it, play with it. Sometimes there is no judgment, no final decision, no position. But I put in my position. I don't really care how you take it. For example, I wrote a story about Imelda Marcos. um there are lots of people who love Imelda Marcos. There are lots of people, maybe half of the world, who do not like Imelda Marcos. And I presented Imelda Marcos with the five men of her life.
If the
So
shoe fits.
if the shoe fits. So
I read.
she deals with Marcos, with Nakpil, with her father Vicente, Cardinal Sin, and Ninoy Aquino. So there is not judgment, but there is wonderful conversation going on, and that for me is like, a
Something,
play. What if?
you're giving them something to think about.
Hmm. So
And
like,
jumping off from that, sir, can we reach you? Where can our audiences who wants to get to know you better, get to read your works, and where can we find you? You have Twitter. Can you please advertise it for us? An upcoming book, maybe that you showed us earlier. Come on, do not be
okay.
shy.
So there is a petersolisnery.com. So it's a website where you can like get more information about me. Like, I was going to show this one. It's there you go. Can you see it? Sorry, there.
Yes, sir.
So it's petersolisnery.com. If you don't know my name, that means you're not even interested. So there's petersolisnery.com. On Facebook, I am Peter Solis Nery. So 3 names like this one. Okay. And you will see me with a pink profile photo. I think that's my first profile photo. And although it would seem like I changed it, I did not change it. I keep it because I think I look pretty in pink. I have a pink house for for a while. I'm changing the color, of course, because I'm trying to sell the house. I am on Instagram as Peter Solis Nery. I am on Twitter as Peter Solis Nery. So, one name, well, no, like my website. There is a YouTube channel. I think it's Mr. Peter Solis Nery. I don't know how to change it. So I have this work. I have this like website, and then this social media accounts. Now, in my social media accounts, I am often on Facebook. Like, I check I check in daily, like, so, and then on Facebook, I have several groups there. There have several pages too. There's the September project, for my other projects. And then most important is the Peter Solis Nery Foundation. There's a page for the foundation. And then the workshops or the literary resource hubs, if they are not private, like, what happens with the workshop is, I start public, but when people are beginning to share about their lives and all that in the workshop, so like, if there are 150 participants, the workshop is basically open for everyone. Okay. And then probably if it's a 1 month workshop, on the second week, for example, people begin to start sharing about their lives, their own stories. And sometimes these are, like, for me, sacred stories. So if you are dedicated to the workshop, I usually convert the group into private. So and that's how it happens. That's why if you look at the activities of the foundation and the workshops that I give are usually posted online.
Okay.
So yes, I said I've been very busy. I just finished releasing, oh my god, do I have, I think Professor Parcon's translation of my stories. It's called Nothing's Lost, as in nothing is lost in translation. And then my new memoir, the almost fabulous Peter Solis Nery, and it's gonna easy reading, like, these are like short, these are basically for millennials and all that. So
Okay, sir
um
Peter. I really
huh.
hate to cut you out on this, but one last note because we are about to run out of time here in Zoom.
Okay.
What is next for Mr. Peter Solis Nery?
Well, I'm right now. I'm finishing the textbooks for 21st century literature from the Philippines and the world, and then contemporary arts. But the big picture is, like, I'm fixing my house to have it sold. If I get to sell the house before the end of the year, that would mean for me, like, going back to the Philippines, like, probably, for good, like, I can travel now better. So I'll probably, stay in the Philippines. Probably, I don't know, start a media company.
Wow.
Get into active, like, theater, producing artists,
Will you visit us
all
here
this.
when you
Of
come here?
course, like,
You have to
Prima
learn
Galaw.
Shakespeare.
I've always I'm always grateful for Prima Galaw for producing Tic Tac Toe, and I'm
I'm
even like,
grateful for you, sir.
and like, and it is like, I don't know, like, it's a vision that, like, that maybe we should do, make Tic Tac Toe as the resident play of Iloilo,
That
like,
has been
some,
discussed.
yeah, like,
Once this COVID thing is over, we will definitely get back on stage.
yeah, like, like, if it's
We can
done.
have that worked out, sir.
So yeah. Well, I'll try to. I Right now I get some ideas, but, like, as I said, because of the I work, I don't want to frustrate or disappoint people. So just because the textbooks are commissioned and dep ed, this has to comply with dep ed and all that, and I have the publisher's deadline. I kind of, like, I'm keeping this priority, but I have several creative works in the
Well, thank you
line.
very much, Sir Peter. Thank you very much for giving us the time of day in your busy schedule. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of Exhibition featuring, of course, Mr. Peter Solis Nery. So, do not forget to like and subscribe down there. Hit the notification button so that you will be informed of our new episodes in the next coming weeks. So, thank you very much for spending time with us, Sir Peter Solis Nery. As always, you take care of yourself, and to all our viewers, have a great day, have a great life. Goodbye.